An Arizona man's Facebook post about a recent traffic stop is going viral. I mean, it's being shared hundreds of thousands times on Facebook, Jose. Now, Stephen Hildreth Jr., he was going to work. He was on his way to the office. His taillight was out. That's when he got pulled over by the police. He saw it coming. He saw the police do the U-turn. Now, the officer came up to his window. And in Arizona, they ask everyone if they have any weapons. He said yes. He said he had a concealed carry permit holder, and he had a gun on his right hip. Now, the officer said, you know, for your safety and mine, we have to disarm you before we go through with this. So he did. He complied. He got out of the car. They relieved him of his Glock. He had a Glock on his right hip. Okay, what happened next? They asked for his registration. They noticed his registration was expired. They went back to the car to run his license. Now, as he's waiting in his own car, he's thinking, okay, they got 2 infractions on me. I got the broken headlight, as well as my registration's out of date. Now, they came back, they gave him the gun, and they said, go on your way, don't worry about it, because you were cool with us, and you complied, we're just gonna give you, the hall pass, free pass. So, what does he do? Gets in his car, goes to work, does his thing. He goes home and he does a Facebook post about what happened. Now, I want to read you guys a little piece of it because things got very controversial and has a lot of people talking. And I think it brings up a very good point. Let's take a look at this post. Now, as we can see here, he starts off by saying, I'm a black man wearing a hoodie and strapped. According to certain social movements, I shouldn't be alive right now because the police are allegedly out to kill minorities. Maybe, just maybe, that notion is bunk. Maybe if you treat police officers with respect, they will do the same to you. Police officers are people too. By far and large, most are good people and they're not out to get you. Now, he goes on to thank those 2 officers, and then he goes at the end, he says, we talk so much about the bad apples who shouldn't be wearing a badge. I'd like to spread the word about an example of men who earned their badges and exemplify what that badge stands for. Now,
all good up to that point.
Right, exactly. And then he ends it with the All Lives Matter hashtag and Blue Lives Matter. So this has sparked a huge debate. Now, in a matter of just a few hours, I saw this thing being shared hundreds of thousands of times. Now, but I checked it earlier and it was at 200 and something thousand. I don't know what it's up to now. It's probably grown a lot since then. And people are talking and they're kind of saying, well, I forgot to tell you, he had a military ID. Now, some people are saying, well, yeah, you're black, and you got off just because you have a military ID, which in my opinion is complete bullshit. Now, it's kind of...
We've seen brutality against veterans before, so I don't think that necessarily was something that prevented this from happening.
Right.
But what I do see is that something that, in essence, if you look at it, is something that, yes, we should celebrate that cops are doing their job.
Right.
That's their job. Their job is not to enforce brutality on the citizens. Their job is exactly to do what they did. So, yes, correct, we celebrate that, but at the same time, I think he is putting himself to the service of many people that will spin this to take away the value to the Black Lives Matter movement by using specifically All Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter, which on the debate is, well, all lives matter. No, not necessarily because of what Black Lives Matter means. They mean the fact that we are a group of people, a race in this country that has been oppressed and has been enslaved, and no other race has been gone through it. So that's what everybody needs to remember. That is the difference, and that's why they get to say Black Lives Matter.
Right, and then to see an African American come out and use All Lives Matter and kind of have that same argument that a lot of white conservatives may have, obviously gets a lot of people going, right?
Exactly.
And it gets a lot of people excited.
And they will use it in their favor.
Right, and they spin it and they use it against him. Now, we can go on and on about these kinds of things, but I think it's kind of sad in itself that, a post like this goes viral. I'm black, and I didn't get abused by the police, and everyone's like applauding. Wow, this guy survived a police traffic stop. It's kind of sad that we've gotten to that point.
In that point,
yeah, it's really sad that we've gotten that point, and you can sit there and say, well, we're so damn sensitive, but no, this is a direct reaction to the abuse that police officers have put on minorities. So it's a natural backlash that you're going to get when people overstep their boundaries. It's not us being too politically correct. It's not us being too liberal. All the people who stand up for these kinds of things. It's simply a natural backlash when you see the kinds of videos that have been circulating in the recent years, right?
And I think it's important that you make me think of something that is really important to share. That is the idea that these cases are isolated cases that get blown out of proportion through social media, and we don't hear of them because we shouldn't be celebrating someone just doing their job. What we need to be doing, we need to be vigilant that cases like that don't happen again. And cases like the ones that we've been reporting stop from happening. And when there's a movement organized that finally is bringing the politicians to address the inequality that exists in between black Americans and the rest of this country, we have to be vigilant of people trying to use one single episode where there was no consequences and the things went as it should go for everyone, then it's a sign that everything is better in this country. I think we need to be careful.
And you know, conservatives and other people who are against this kind of stuff that we're talking about, they can make the argument, no, racism doesn't exist. You know, people are blowing it out of proportion. But there's things that you can't deny. You know, the investigations that probed into these police departments in Ferguson, for example, that show blatant racism. I mean, racist comments and emails. When you look at the disproportionate amount of black people who are targeted and given tickets against white people, I mean, you can't dispute these kinds of things. The numbers are there, the proof's there. So
the history
definitely doesn't give credence to
what
what
we
they're
don't have to just reduce to the things that are happening in the police and that we are learning because of social media and because, you know, citizen journalists that are putting these videos out there. The history of this country is there and we can't deny that, and it's something that happened.
Right. Well, we want to know in the comments what you guys think about Stephen coming out and making this Facebook post and it going super viral. Everything that we talked about, I think, is very important, but particularly his point of view and how people are going to try to spin that. Let us know in the comments below, and if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to the Lip TV for more.